Good morning, 5th grader. Today's NTI packet is for Thursday, April 23rd. Mathematics, reviewing triangles. Match each of the following terms in the left column with the correct definition in the right column to demonstrate your understanding of key terms associated with classifying triangles. You have isosceles, right, 180, scalene, obtuse, equilateral, and acute. On the right side, you have an angle less than 90 degrees, an angle greater than 90 degrees, an angle equal to 90 degrees, a triangle with 3 equal sides, a triangle with only 2 equal sides, a triangle with no equal sides, and the total degrees of the angles in a triangle. Classify each of the following triangles with as many descriptions as possible. Use the first page of the packet for assistance if needed. Be mindful, other than an equilateral triangle, all triangles should fall into a category based on sides and shapes. Reading, practice notes, and activity. Learning target. I can use resources, print or digital, to find an answer to a question. Question. In what ways can a volcano change the landscape? Read source A, From the Mountain to Lake. The highlighted sections show how a volcano can change the landscape. Mount Mazama began to grow almost 500,000 years ago. Before its eruption, the mountain may have been nearly 12,000 feet high. When Mount Mazama erupted about 7,700 years ago, hot gas and volcanic rock blew high into the air. Ash from this eruption blanketed areas as far as 800 miles away in Alberta, Canada. As the hot lava poured out of Mount Mazama, the mountain could no longer hold itself up. The volcano began to sink and collapse inward. Within days, it was gone. The eruption of Mount Mazama caused huge changes to the land. Flowing magma spread like giant fingers. It covered about 500,000 square feet to the north and east. A huge cloud of ash and pumice blasted 25 miles into the air. Particles of this ash have been found as far away as Greenland, more than 3,000 miles away. As Mount Mazama expelled tons of fiery rock, the top 5,000 feet of the volcano collapsed inward. It formed a caldera. Lava flows sealed the bottom. Steam and dust flew into the atmosphere, causing heavy rains to fall. Scientists estimate it took about 720 years and over 4 trillion gallons of rainwater and snowmelt to fill the caldera. This resulted in Crater Lake, one of the deepest lakes in the world. Over 1,900 feet deep, Crater Lake is also the deepest lake in the United States. Using the text and video source, we can now answer the question, in what ways does a volcano change the landscape? Our answer, when a volcano erupts, it causes changes to the land. Hardened lava and ash can build up to form a mountain. Sometimes the volcano collapses and forms a caldera. When the caldera fills with rainwater and melted snow, it creates a lake. Crazy craters around the world. Craters are bowl-shaped depressions in the ground caused by the high-velocity impact of a meteorite or asteroid. Here are some of the most well-known craters all over the world. Lake Bosumtwi crater. Located in Kumasi, Ghana, the impact of the meteorite opened up a crater that slowly filled with water, creating Ghana's only natural lake. Lake Bosumtwi crater is 10.5 kilometers across. The Barringer crater. Located in the state of Arizona, USA, best preserved impact center, also known as Meteor Crater Coon Butte, and Canyon Diablo. Barringer crater is relatively small. It measures only 1.2 kilometers in diameter. The Redfort crater. Located in the Free State province of South Africa and named after the town of Redfort, which is situated near its center. Largest verified impact crater on Earth. Scientists estimate that Redfort crater was created by an asteroid roughly 5 to 10 kilometers in diameter. Redfort crater is about 300 kilometers wide and more than 2 billion years old. Clearwater Lakes, located in Quebec, Canada. These two lake craters were caused by a pair of asteroids that crashed into Earth simultaneously. West Clearwater Lake has 32-kilometer diameter, and East Clearwater Lake has a 22-kilometer diameter. Question 1. Craters are created by meteorites that hit the Earth at great speeds. This impact creates lakes, canyons, and other landforms. How does the image and information support this idea? Mark only one oval. Redford crater, located in the state of Arizona, USA. Craters are bowl-shaped depressions in the ground caused by the high velocity. And Lake Bosamtwi crater is 10.5 kilometers across. Number 2. Use the images and information from the article to select the true statement. Mark only one oval. There are many craters in the world. Craters are only found in the United States. Craters always start out small and grow larger. Craters can be different sizes and shapes. Reading exit slip. Source number 1. On a dark night, we may see a band of light stretching across the sky. With binoculars or a small telescope, this band is partially resolved into stars. We call this band the Milky Way. It is composed primarily of stars that are too faint to be resolved, so that we see their combined light as a faint glow. The Milky Way is an example of a gigantic collection of stars, gas, and dust that we call a galaxy. Until the 1920s, it was fiercely debated whether the Milky Way was the entire universe or whether the spiral nebulas, such as the Great Nebula and Andromeda, were galaxies in their own right external to our own. This debate was finally resolved when Cepheid variables were used to measure distances to the globular clusters surrounding our own galaxy and to galaxies like Andromeda, M31. These measurements showed that Andromeda was much farther away than the globular clusters, indicating that it was a separate galaxy. Source number 2. Fast Facts, Milky Way Galaxy. The name, the Milky Way Galaxy. The description. The Milky Way Galaxy is home to our solar system. We see the plane of the galaxy as a band of light stretching across the night sky. The galaxy is a barred spiral containing about 200 billion stars. The age. The oldest known stars are 13 billion years old. The location. The solar system is located within the Milky Way Galaxy on a branch called the Orion Spur. Distance from Earth to the galactic center, 26,000 light years in the direction of Sagittarius. The diameter is 100,000 light years across. Number 1. Which of the following is not a part of the Milky Way? Mark only one oval. Stars, the Great Nebula, gases, or dust. Number 2. Using source 1 and source 2, which of the following is true? The Milky Way is 100,000 light years across. The Milky Way galaxy is made up of stars. That Andromeda was the oldest star at 13 billion years old. Milky Way was the entire universe. Use the two sources of information to select the true statement. Mark only one oval. The galaxy is a barred spiral containing about 500 billion stars. The Milky Way is a band of light stretching across the sky. The Milky Way is an example of a gigantic collection of stars, fire, and dust that we call a galaxy. The oldest known stars are 1 billion years old. Writing, lesson overview, learning target. I can write an opinion piece on a topic, supporting my point of view with reasons and evidence. Weekly learning plan. This week we'll focus on opinion writing. This is your opportunity to practice the power of using your thoughts to effectively communicate your opinion. In order to allow you to work on the different elements of a complete writing piece, each day has its own focus. By Thursday, you will have a completed opinion piece and be ready to try one in one sitting on Friday. This week you will: Monday, read the prompt and create a plan using a graphic organizer, Foursquare. This is your chance to brainstorm ideas and design the flow of your piece. Tuesday, write the introduction. Be sure to grab your reader's attention with a great hook and state the purpose of your writing piece. Wednesday, Thursday, write the body of your piece. Using strong supporting details such as examples, explanations, and experiences, make your plan come alive in your piece. Friday, write your conclusion. This is your chance to bring all of your thoughts to an end and leave the reader thinking. Writing the prompt, learning target. I can write an opinion piece on a topic supporting my point of view with reasons and evidence. Using the opinion prompt and your Foursquare organizer that you use to analyze your prompt, conclude writing your body to support your opinion 1 to 2 paragraphs. For your writing piece, make sure to tie your details together in this paragraph. Writing situation. Today, more and more students own cell phones and tablets. They carry them everywhere they go and would like to bring them to school. The site-based decision-making council of your school wants to hear from you. Writing directions. Should students be allowed to have personal cell phones and tablets at school? Write a letter to the SBDM in which you share your opinion with the council. Use strong reasons and examples to support your thinking. Social studies, lesson notes, and practice. Have you ever gone on a road trip? Today, when we travel, we often pack lots of games and activities to do in the car, bring snacks to munch on, and stop at hotels each night to break up a long trip. Now imagine going on a road trip across the country in the 1800s. Instead of traveling in the comfort of a car, you and your family pile into a wagon pulled by horses. You must bring everything you could possibly need, including food and supplies for the entire trip. This time, you're not planning on returning home, and where you are going will take 5 months or more to get there. Would you still want to go? Vocabulary. Pioneer, early settlers are traveling west. The frontier is the border between a settlement and unsettled land. Pioneers and the frontier, traveling the unknown. People have long been curious about exploring unknown and uncharted lands. From the time that colonists arrived in North America, there has always been people who were willing to pack up their lives and travel to explore new lands. In the late 1700s through the 1800s, men and women began traveling west across the Appalachian Mountains. These early travelers were called pioneers. As time went on, these pioneers kept pushing the edge of their settlement further and further west. This edge of settlement became known as the frontier. The Wilderness Road. Daniel Boone was probably the best-known pioneer during this time. He led many pioneers west across the Appalachian Mountains. He created a trail that became known as the Wilderness Road. This trail cut through a gap in the mountains in Virginia to Kentucky. Soon, thousands of pioneers were traveling along the Wilderness Road. These early pioneers were leaving their lives behind in hopes of creating a new life in the West. Starting a new life. Pioneer life was hard. Everything had to be done by hand, including building homes, making their own clothes, and hunting for food. There were no close by neighbors to rely on, or towns to visit when supplies were running low. Yet pioneers pressed on and overcame these hardships. They continued to press on westward and built farms, roads, and towns along the way. The westward expansion. As word continued to spread about new fertile land and new opportunities in the West, others followed, beginning with the early journeys of Daniel Boone on the Wilderness Road in the late 1700s to the late 1800s, became known as a time of westward expansion in the United States. Many risks were taken and sacrifices were made by these early travelers to create the United States as we now know today. The practice activity. Directions. Look at the picture cards. Answer the questions on the What Was Westward Expansion worksheet, then complete the journal question. Number 1. Describe the landscape that people traveling west faced. What would it be like to travel in this area? Number 2. What were some of the hardship travelers faced by traveling west? Number 3. What do you think these travelers are looking at? What do you think they found? Number 4. What challenges did the landscape present to those traveling? What was westward expansion? Learning target. I can explain what westward expansion was. I can discuss early pioneers and give details about their journeys westward. What was westward expansion? As you look through the picture cards, complete the boxes below. What words would you use to describe the land that early travelers encountered? List some of the hardships and challenges travelers faced. Use details from the pictures to determine if the following statement is true or false. Explain your answer. Based on the pictures, it appears that everyone involved in traveling had a positive experience. Look at the picture cards. What impact did traveling west have on where people lived? Lesson 1 continued. Journal question. If you lived during the time of the westward expansion time period, would you want to move? Why or why not? Learning target self-reflection. I can explain what westward expansion was. I can discuss early pioneers and give details about their journeys westward. Place a check mark below to show your understanding of today's topic. I got it, almost there, or I need help. I gave myself this rating because Social Studies Learning Target Assessment. Learning target. I can describe how the physical environment, mountains as barriers for protection, rivers as barriers of transportation, etc., both promoted and restricted human activities during the early settlement of the U.S. Number 1. Blank were the group of men and women who began traveling west across the Appalachian Mountains in the 1700s and 1800s. A. Farmers, B. Colonists, C. Slaves, or D. Pioneers. Number 2. What was one reason people began to move west during this time period? A. Fertile land and new opportunities. B. The chances to meet Daniel Boone. C. The excitement of crossing the mountains. And D. New shopping centers were available in the West. Number 3. The border between a settlement and unsettled land is called the A. Plains, B. Frontier, C. Coasts, or D. Open land. Number 4. Which man created a trail that cut through a gap in the mountains of Virginia and into Kentucky? This trail became known as the Wilderness Road. A. George Washington, B. Thomas Jefferson, C. Daniel Boone, or D. Mr. Wilson? Spanish. These are pictures and descriptions of fall clothing. Dress a person. I can match Spanish clothing words with English definitions. To create sentences using clothing words and adjectives, follow this formula. Depending on how you fill in the blanks, you could create sentences like, my cap is big, or the boots are pink. Directions: complete the following sentences by filling in the blanks with clothing words and adjectives. Each one must be different. Use the adjective list at the top. Exit slip. Learning target. I can match Spanish clothing words with English definitions. So on this side we have the Spanish word, and on the right side we have a choice of English definitions. Physical education, Tabata. Number 1, mountain climbers. 2, squats. 3, sit-ups. 4, arm circles. 5, ground dips. 6, wall sit. And that concludes today's NTI packet.